I'm imploring your audience, after someone connects with you and you send a message back thanking them for the connection, don't try and sell them anything, and don't even try and help them. Just thank them for the connection, right? So I'll give you an example. One of my clients owns a law firm, and he is breaking into the blockchain industry. And so we're connecting him with blockchain founders. And he'll, after he gets a connection, he'll follow up and say, like, hi, Colin, thanks so much for connecting. I'm really passionate about the blockchain space. I know you are as well. Look forward to seeing your content. And then that's it. If they don't reply, then a week later, he'll send a second message to Rainmaker, and it'll say, hi, Colin, I find myself more and more writing about the intersection of law and blockchain, and I'm wondering if there's any topics you'd have interest in me writing about.
Welcome to the Grow and Learn podcast, your go-to source for expertise and insights on a variety of topics: business growth, leadership, technology, personal and business finance, and more. We've curated a vast network of business experts ready to address your company's most pressing challenges. Reach out to us for more information or schedule a call at GrowNLearn.org to explore how we can support you. How LinkedIn can help you gain leads, gain visibility. My guest today is a venture capital firm CEO, co-partner. It's a very interesting story. I'm sure you're going to enjoy it because he's partnering with, I'm not going to steal the secret, he's going to tell you more. I'm welcoming Colin Hirdman today. Hi, Colin.
Thanks, Erica. Yeah, appreciate you having me on. I'm really excited to chat with you today.
Me too. Welcome. Colin, let's start with your childhood story. First of all, your venture company is called Monkey Island Ventures.
Yes.
What's this all about?
Yeah, no, happy to tell you my story. So, I got into entrepreneurship really by chance. I started my first company a week after graduating from college with a criminal justice degree, which I never used, and I never took a business, marketing, or accounting class in college. So I really just fell into entrepreneurship by chance. I sold that company in 2006, and then in 2007, I started Monkey Island Ventures with Josh and Zach, my two business partners. The three of us have all known each other since we were about 5 years old. And Monkey Island is named after a park that we used to play at when we were kids, located in the Twin Cities in Minnesota in the United States. So we have been building a bunch of companies over the years. So Monkey Island is kind of our holding company, and we've launched probably 12 different SaaS products, software as a service products. Most of those had fiery deaths and weren't successes. But then we also started a digital marketing company, Agurian, and a software development company, Cloudburst. And those are two service-based businesses that are thriving and growing well. And we have about 40 people here in Minnesota in those companies. And we've just really have bonded, the three of us, through entrepreneurship. We've even created what we call the 5 Fs, which are finances, freedom, family, friendship, and fun. And we've lived by those 5 kind of core values since 2007. And I would encourage any entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs out there. The road can be really lonely when you're, a solo person at the top of an organization. And if you have business partners that you can truly rely on and have at your side, it makes the journey, I think, a lot more fulfilling.
Yeah, I do want to ask you about your relationship with your business partners and how this evolved. But before that, what's with criminal justice? Do we need to learn criminal justice to be successful?
Right. Well, maybe I had delusions of grandeur. I wanted to be the 007 of the United States, right? So, yeah. So, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do with my life, and that was a degree I could get and go back to school if I wanted to. But I ended up, just getting into entrepreneurship.
Was there any useful part of it for your business, you think?
Maybe the way that I kind of have a critical eye and how I analyze things. There's certainly some of that, I think, that has gotten brought into the way that I run business.
Yeah, great. Let's talk about your team, your friends, Josh and Zach. I mean, lots of startups, the majority failed, they say, because of failed relationships. Well, in the first place is lack of funding. Second place, bad relationships among the founders. How did your relationship with Josh and Zach evolve over the years? You were childhood friends.
Yep.
How did you get to know each other again as adults?
Yeah, no, well, we were always in contact with one another. Josh, he was literally my next door neighbor as we were growing up. And, he spent a decade down in Uruguay. His father's side of the family is from there. And, when he was looking to move back to raise his family here in Minnesota, he, was reaching out again to us and letting us know that he's moving back. And Zach was transitioning out of a position where he was helping a company get sold. His company gets sold, so he's transitioning that sale. And then I had just sold, or it was in the process of selling my company. And so it was just kind of the three of us were having these transition points in our lives and started talking about like going into business with one another. And the next thing we were together creating Monkey Island.
Mm-hmm. So this seems like a flawless reunion, or were there any obstacles in this business relationship now?
No, no, not really. And, when I look back even over the last, 17 years or so of us being in business together, we've always put our friendship ahead of business. And, and within that friendship certainly is our families. And it doesn't mean that there's not, rocky times or highs and lows, but I think we've gone through those more as a unit versus us being three separate individuals. So it's been great. And there's been times where if two of us want to do something, the third doesn't really want to, the third person will be like, okay, well, I trust the two of you, then let's give it a try. So, and the reality is that most business decisions you make are not catastrophic. We've certainly had more failures than successes, but I think that's true for anyone that is, truly an entrepreneur over a long period of time.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about your latest project that has to do with helping coaches, entrepreneurs gain more visibility on LinkedIn, Rainmaker.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How did this
Yeah.
start? What is your relationship
Right.
with the project?
Yeah. No, it's a great question. So, I've been doing a lot of what you call almost like growth hacking, using cold email and LinkedIn over the last 5-6 years with some of our software products and some of the, products that we are building out for clients through Cloudburst. And, about 6-7 months ago, I went to Josh and Zach and said, I've gotten really, really good at this LinkedIn growth. And I feel like I could build a real business out of that. And so they were like, okay, well, go for it. We believe in you. And so about 5 months ago, created the Rainmaker brand and really started to do networking and reaching out to my network and started to onboard clients. And what I've become, kind of acutely aware of is really the way that I think anybody that's a founder entrepreneur, if you're in sales or if you're in marketing, how you should really be approaching LinkedIn as a way to grow your business. And I'll say a couple things in terms of the Rainmaker model. I love the transparency of it. So really everything that I'm going to talk to you and your audience about today are things that anyone can go and do manually if they want. Really, people are hiring me and Rainmaker because of the strategy, which I'm happy to share today. But also it's the automation. I'm really just automating best practices that my clients should be doing on LinkedIn, and I'm saving them time. So that's really why clients are hiring me in Rainmaker. And then the model itself is also set up where I want to make it really easy for clients to work with me. And so they're not interacting with my software, they're just interacting with me right now, which is great. And I'm having a really wonderful time doing that. So
just to give more insight on the way the system, or the I don't know what it's called. Rainmaker is not a system. What is it? It's a
It's
system.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's a software product and
software. Yeah.
process.
And
Mhm.
how does it work? Does anybody need to log into your website, create a user? How does it work for the client?
Yeah, yep. So it's as far as like the model and the process and the way that it works is, um, there's no contract or anything. It's just month to month. I really just have two pricing plans. One is $199 a month, and I'm growing out your LinkedIn network with your ideal client profiles, or it's $499 a month, and I'm doing that in about 11 other campaign types. And that's all on the rainmakergrows.com website is my pricing and my process. There's also a campaigns page there that lists 12 different campaign types, and all but one your audience could go and start doing right now themselves on LinkedIn. And so again, really all I'm doing is using my client's LinkedIn account and performing best practice activities that they should be doing on the account, which I'd be happy to start chatting about what some of those strategies are. The way that I think about LinkedIn, I kind of think about it in three levels, right? So the top level is LinkedIn philosophy. The second level is audience building. And then the bottom level are strategies and tactics. And so I'll start with the philosophy, which is, when you're on LinkedIn, you have to be authentic to who you are. Okay, you have to communicate as yourself, Serena. I need to communicate as myself, Colin, and you need to do that in a genuine way that I think is also a conversational approach. Right? You want to be more relaxed on LinkedIn. It is a social network. It is about building relationships. But the beauty of LinkedIn is it's also a business social network. People are there to hire, to look for jobs, to buy and sell. So it's a great social network to build your business on. So the other thing is, as you approach LinkedIn, you need to also do it from an educational mindset. No one wants to be sold on LinkedIn. What you need to do is, but virtually everyone's willing to be educated on LinkedIn. And so you need to come in with an educational mindset. And the last thing I'll say, and this is where I put a lot of pressure on myself, but also on fellow founders and entrepreneurs, salespeople, marketing people, you need to understand what are the pains and barriers your prospects are trying to overcome. You need to know what it is that they want to be educated on, and you need to know specifically what they want to learn from you. And if you can do that, then I think you can have really, really great success on LinkedIn. It's about being authentic. It's about coming with an educational mindset, and it's about knowing explicitly what your audience wants to learn from you.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can adopt that philosophy, I think you can have really great success on LinkedIn. So then it goes to the next level down, which is audience
May I
building.
ask you one
Yeah,
question at
yeah,
this
you bet.
point? So when it comes to both being authentic and educational, I am myself posting quite a lot on LinkedIn, and I'm also observing what other people post.
Yeah,
And it seems that there's a prevalence now in AI edited posts on LinkedIn, and it's obvious. And I think that people have an aversion to reading these to some
yep,
degree.
yep.
Would you, what would you recommend on people using AI? Should they use it on LinkedIn or avoid it altogether?
Okay, so two things. Number one, with Rainmaker, I'm not concentrating on your content or your posts. That's up to you. You're the entrepreneur, you're the marketer, you're the salesperson. You need to know your business and you need to know what is going to grab their attention. So I'm focused on helping you grow your network and then utilizing the different channels within LinkedIn to actually get your network to activate. But what I will say to directly to your question around AI is, yes, I think you should be leveraging AI, not for everything, right? And it's as far as like your posts go, you should also kind of be mixing them up a little bit, right? Some of your posts should just be fun. Some could be, about you at a local, restaurant enjoying something. That's fine to post from time to time. That makes you a human. But then, the other content, sharing other people's content, calling out other people on LinkedIn for good things that you've seen them do, being part of LinkedIn as a social network, I think is a good thing. And then, yes, having content that you're providing that's educational, that is geared towards specific audiences, is also important. And having AI help you with some of that, I think is a good thing to do. But yes, there's also kind of LinkedIn overkill with AI where the posts are boring or the posts are kind of robotic,
Yeah.
that you're not going to get engagement. You
Mhm.
can even tell which posts are created with like Chat GPT,
Yeah.
right? It's the same style of
Right.
imagery. And I just think, yeah, people can kind of start to tune out of some of that stuff. So it does go back to really that LinkedIn philosophy about like, don't post stuff just for the sake of posting. Post it because you really want to share something personal about you. You want to help someone out else on LinkedIn. But I can say that some of my activities, even from like 5 months ago, I was trying to post every day on LinkedIn. Even what I've done with my own account is I've used Rainmaker for myself as I've seen my behavior change because I want LinkedIn to be a place that I build relationships, yes, but I also want it to drive leads and revenue for me. And that's where I'll speak to some very specific strategies that you and your audience can use that I think will even change some of your behavior on LinkedIn in some positive ways in regards to generating leads and sales, but actually adding a lot of value to your prospects that the LinkedIn network really wants you to be adding into it.
Uh,
So,
to share some
uh,
to share some
oh,
credibility to the Rainmaker software. Uh,
uh-huh.
could you share what successes your clients have been able to achieve when they've started using it?
So what I'm going to do is I'll talk about audience building and then I'll talk
Yeah.
about campaigns and strategies.
Yeah.
And because I'll be illustrating with a few stories of how I and my clients are succeeding on LinkedIn. And remember, you don't have to use Rainmaker for these types of results. It's really Rainmaker is a way to save time around doing a lot of these things manually. So your audience should still, I think, take to heart that they can start any of these strategies, right after they get done listening to this podcast. So when I think about audience building, I'm typically using Sales Navigator to build my audiences, and I think it works out really, really well. If a client of mine doesn't have Sales Navigator, I'll use mine. But you can also use regular LinkedIn search, but you don't have the same ability to hone in on your target market the way that you do with Sales Navigator. It's about 100 US dollars a month is about the approximate cost for that. So, but one of the things though that I've started to think about over the last few months is how do I get closer to understanding my audience intent and identifying people that might be further down the purchase path or more receptive to maybe engaging with me and with my company. And so I have a couple of options for your audience to consider. So one are LinkedIn events. So if one of your direct competitors is hosting a LinkedIn event, if you go and attend that event, you can see everyone else that's also attending that event. So if I were, if one of my competitors was hosting a Growing on LinkedIn event, I could go and attend that event and I could pull out everybody that's attending that event that is a founder or an entrepreneur or a sales executive that lives in Minnesota, right? And I could actually then start reaching out to those people and try and create first connections, knowing that they're already interested in growing on LinkedIn because they're attending these LinkedIn events. Okay. So that's one way. Use LinkedIn events to identify your audience that's already showing intent in what your company solves for. Another one is using a person as a proxy. So there's a woman named Brenda that's on LinkedIn. She's got like 70,000 followers, and she does a great job talking about your LinkedIn profile and how often you should be posting and what your post should contain. And I thought, okay, I bet her audience would be receptive to Rainmaker. And so I reached out and she connected back with me on LinkedIn. So now she's my first connection. Well, I can go into LinkedIn search or Sales Navigator and choose her as a connection and then say, I want to see everyone that's a first connection to Brenda, but as a second connection to me that is also, a founder or, a sales executive that's in Minnesota, right? So just using that as an example, but that's how I could build audiences using her as a proxy because I know that those people are most likely following her because they want to learn how to make the most of LinkedIn. So those are a couple of growth kind of options when you're targeting audiences for LinkedIn events and then using a person as a proxy. Okay, so we've talked about LinkedIn philosophy and audience building. Did you have any questions around those two, or should I get into the campaigns and strategies?
I'm not quite sure if my question fits in here. I wanted to ask you about the reaching out, the first point of contact. Is it at this point or later on when you
Yep.
reach out and introduce yourself?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, and that goes right into the campaigns and strategies that I'm doing
Mhm.
for myself and my clients. So, once you have the audience built, then it's about reaching out and connecting with that audience. The way that I have it set up is reaching out to 25 people a day, Monday through Friday, during normal working hours. So 125 people a week, 500 people a month. And on average, we're seeing between like a 15 and a 45% connection rate back. We almost never use a connection message. We almost always just connect without a connection message, unless you really know your audience and you can provide a connection message that is really helping you create a connection with that person. It can start to feel kind of canned or spammy, and so I just don't even use a connection message. And so we're getting between like a 15, like I said, and a 45% connection rate back.
Well, what do you use? Then you just connect without a message. You
Yep.
just okay.
Yep, yep,
Mhm.
yep. The number one reason why someone will connect back with you is mutual connections.
I
If
see.
you have if you have mutual connections with the audience you're going after, that's why if you can start in a geography where maybe you live or that you have a lot of connections with, that's great. Or if you're targeting certain industries where you already have connections in those industries, that's another great way to start honing in on your audience. But
Mhm.
I'm surprised at some of the connection rates with some of my clients where they're literally reaching out to like net new industries across the United States, and they're still getting like a 20 to 25% connection rate back. And again, when you think about the value of a connection to these people, if you're building your audience right, these are your ideal client profiles. These are the kinds of people you really want to be connecting with. That's a lot better than just continuing to send them an email where they might just be ignoring you or knocking you to spam. You're actually creating a connection. And then how you use it is really up to you. And that's where you need to bring an experimentation mindset and really a go-giver mindset of what value can I provide to this person? Okay. And that's
Mhm.
what we kind of talked about in the philosophical layer at the top of that's the work that you as the entrepreneur, the founder, the salesperson, or the marketer has to do.
Mhm.
So a lot of times after we create those first connections, then we'll bolt on a messaging campaign. And I'm imploring your audience, after someone connects with you and you send a message back thanking them for the connection, don't try and sell them anything, and don't even try and help them. Just thank them for the connection, right? So I'll give you an example. One of my clients owns a law firm, and he's breaking into the blockchain industry, and so we're connecting him with blockchain founders. And he'll, after he gets a connection, he'll follow up and say, like, hi Colin, thanks so much for connecting. I'm really passionate about the blockchain space. I know you are as well. Look forward to seeing your content. And then that's it, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
And then if they don't reply, then a week later he'll send a second message to Rainmaker, and it'll say, hi Colin, I find myself more and more writing about the intersection of law and blockchain, and I'm wondering if there's any topics you'd have interest in me writing about. And he's getting a wonderful response on that because number one, he understands his target market, which is they're blockchain founders. And in the United States, there's a lot of confusion around how the US government is reacting to blockchain and what laws are going to pass. And so
Mhm.
he's getting a lot of response from these blockchain founders saying, oh, I'd love it if you'd write about this topic. Or do you have any insight on this specific law and whether it might pass or not? And so he's immediately building a rapport with these founders. He's being seen as a thought leader through the message. And I know that he's having valuable conversations, and he's even closed some clients off of that. So that's what I mean about bringing that authenticity and understanding what it is that your audience wants to learn from you. So um, those are very typical foundational things. The one thing that has worked out incredibly well for me are LinkedIn live streams. And I would really encourage you and your audience to think about LinkedIn live streams. Number one, LinkedIn wants more live streams, so they're going to help promote it. They're competing against YouTube and Instagram and TikTok and all these other platforms that have a lot of live content. And so LinkedIn wants to promote that. And I can send you after this recording a one-page PDF that maps out my entire process from beginning to end on how I do LinkedIn live streams, and you and your audience can utilize it. And again, you can do that entire process yourself. You don't need me or Rainmaker for that. So
does Rainmaker assist in any way for the live streams?
Yeah. Yeah, it does, and I'll quickly kind of run through my process, and I'll comment on which aspects are automated. So, with a LinkedIn live stream, the first thing you need to do is identify an audience. Okay, so I identified an audience about 2 months ago, a specific type of business coach, and I identified a group of about 200 of them that I wanted to go after. So I reached out with first connection requests to all 200, and you can do that manually, but I did it through Rainmaker. About 100 connected back, so almost 50%, which is very high for a conversion rate.
Right.
But about 50% connected back. So then what I did is I created a LinkedIn live stream event. And this LinkedIn live stream event, I customized the first page of my presentation deck with the title of this business coach on there. So I'm using essentially the same deck each week when I do these live streams, but I'm customizing the title to say like for founders or for sales executives or for business coaches. Okay. And what I'm doing is I'm teaching people how to grow their LinkedIn network leads and sales. That's what the topic of my live stream is about. But then I'm customizing it. So not only is it a topic that is interesting to my audience, but they also feel then that presentation is crafted just for their specific title, even though most of the content that I'm doing is the same. So what it's allowing me to do is reuse LinkedIn content, this deck, every week. I'm not having to always think about all this new content that I need to create. So then once I have my LinkedIn live stream event created on LinkedIn, I will send out LinkedIn event invites to those 100 business coaches, okay? And those 100 business coaches will all get an alert in their LinkedIn that will say, Colin Hirdman invited you to, this event. And then they can click to the live stream and then decide whether they want to click the attend button or not. So with Rainmaker, I'm automating out the LinkedIn invites. So I'm not doing that manually. So to those 100 business coaches, I was able to automate out the invites, but you can do it manually and send all the invites out manually. So, but this is where the actual magic is for anyone that's in B2B sales, is that when you put out a LinkedIn event, if people are not clicking attend, then your audience or your topic or both are off. Okay. Mm-hmm. So you can use this as a way to experiment with audiences and topics and see if people click attend. But the real magic is when you put out a LinkedIn event and you get people to click attend, you are getting them to verify that the audience and the topic is correct. You're also getting them to say to you, I trust you, Colin, and I trust Rainmaker, and I want to learn from you. And when you do that, you're creating really an emotional bond between you and that person, where when I'm done with my live stream, I follow up with each attendee and I'll say, hi, Zarina, thanks so much for registering for the LinkedIn live stream that I led this morning. Not sure if you were able to make it or not, but in case you missed it, here's a link to the recording. Okay. And so the recording of the live stream is saved on the event page in LinkedIn. And then I'll say, if you ever want to chat LinkedIn strategy, feel free to grab a time convenient for you here. And then I'll give them my Calendly link where they can book a one-on-one with me. So if you look at what I've done by creating an audience, creating a topic, creating the live stream, inviting people to it and getting them to click the attend button, I can follow up with all of those people with a Calendly link to have a one-on-one call where it doesn't feel salesy, it doesn't feel spammy, it doesn't feel icky, it feels natural. And I've been able to get leads and close sales from this process. So I would highly recommend that your audience really consider what is it that they can teach that to their prospects and start creating content around that and bringing that to the LinkedIn platform.
What is the format of the LinkedIn Lives? Is it just a presentation, like in the
It can be
webinar? What's the length? What is the format approximately?
Yeah, no, good question. So number one, you can't create a LinkedIn live stream, the actual video feed. You can't do that in LinkedIn. You have to use a third-party product. So I use a product called StreamYard. It's like $25 a month. And it's a great product. And you can actually send a live stream out to LinkedIn and to TikTok and Facebook and Insta, all at this YouTube, all at the same time. So it'll manage that whole thing. But then it's really up to you. The way that I present is with like a deck, but then my face is also there. Yeah. So they're seeing me talking through my deck. I've had all of mine be around a half an hour in length. And one of the great things is when you're doing a live stream is that you will sometimes get questions, so you can interact with your audience where they'll type in a LinkedIn question on the LinkedIn event page, and then you can respond to it audibly. And then, what I've done sometimes is I will actually create a LinkedIn post like a couple days later and say, I was doing this live stream a couple days ago and I got this question and I want to address it here. So you could even get LinkedIn content built out of the live streams that you do. The other thing, StreamYard saves the video. And so you can download the video and you could break that up into video snippets that then you could use for LinkedIn posts as well. So that's what I use.
Yeah. And so when you create the event page, is it automatically visible to everyone, or do you only send, or is it only visible to the ones you send the link to?
No, it's visible as a post, and it's either through your profile, your personal profile, or you can also create these events through your company page.
Yeah.
Yep. And then you have to invite people to the event, and you can only invite people through your personal profiles. And you have to be an attendee of the event in order to invite people to it. And they have to be a first connection.
I see. Got it.
Yep. If you're going to use the event invite function in LinkedIn.
So how long does it normally take to build an audience, first level connections that is big enough for you to for it to be reasonable for you to make a live stream?
Yeah, no, I think that's a great question. So I know when I started doing the live streams like 4 or 5 months ago, I'd get sometimes, 2 or 3 people signing up. And I'm sure there were times where I was just kind of talking to myself. But I was also learning how to do the live streams. I was getting comfortable being live and I was practicing my content, right? So I think there's some validity to doing it even if you don't have a big audience. I'm getting between generally 10 to 25 people each time I do a live stream to attend. And the audience that I'm getting, for example, the business coaches of those 100 that I sent the invite to, 22 of them clicked the attend button. So I went from an audience of 200. I reached out, 100 connected back with me, and then I invited those 100 to my event, and 22 clicked the attend button. So 22 out of the 200 actually clicked the attend button on my event. If you want to go from beginning to end of that process, which I think is pretty outstanding.
Yeah. And for your clients following the same process, what is the success rate in terms of signed contracts or signed clients?
I have no idea because I have really just been pushing these live streams the last like maybe 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
And so my clients are just starting to build theirs out. So I don't have any other data other than my own.
Yeah.
So,
Mm-hmm.
but to me, I mean, like I said, I'm very knowledgeable around digital marketing and social media marketing, and there are a few things I think that are as valuable to any B2B company as this process that I've just described for you around this LinkedIn process for
Mm-hmm.
live streams.
Mm-hmm. All right. Fantastic. And so what are the other 12 or 11? I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, some of the other campaign types. So, you know, um, there's some campaigns where we're like visiting, have my client's profile go and visit people that they want to connect with, and they'll maybe follow them first before they ask for the connection. So you're kind of warming the people up to who you are before you ask for the connection. Um, Another one would be like group messages, where if my client is joining different LinkedIn groups, we can send messages from their profile to other people that are in those groups, and it can be a second or a third degree connection. So they don't have to be a first degree connection. So you could be in a group and maybe you have, a white paper, or you posted something on your site, or you're doing an event. Well, you could actually message people that are second or third degree connections, and hopefully get them to respond. There's another one. This is one where you actually need a product like Rainmaker, but it's a visit and capture campaign where I'll have my client's profile visit all his profiles within an audience, and then we will take scrape LinkedIn data and then try and do an email match, and then I give that back to the client as an Excel file or a CSV file that then they could import into their CRM, or that they could look through and maybe do an email marketing campaign or whatever they want outside of LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so, but yeah, if they go to the campaigns page, they can see some of the other different campaign types that we can run. So, and that they can do themselves.
What are the types of clients that this will most likely work for? You mentioned coaches, consultants. What is the size of the ideal business that would use this model?
Um, Honestly, I think anybody that's in sales. So whether you're a founder of a small company, if you're a sales team in a really huge company, you still need to engage prospects. I think the best way of doing that is teaching, educating, helping. And so I think really anyone that wants to fill their pipeline with good prospects, I guarantee your prospects are most likely on LinkedIn. And so it's just a matter of identifying and building those audiences, and then going after them with materials and offers and opportunities where you're helping them in their journey to try and be as productive as they can be in their jobs.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. In your venture studio, is it Monkey Island Ventures? Do you build the ventures from scratch, or do you acquire them and invest in something already existing? Is this?
Yeah, so we in terms of like the discrete businesses that we manage, we've started all of those from scratch.
Mhm.
But we have invested in companies, but we have a hands-off approach. We're not really playing any role in those investments.
I see. I see.
Yeah.
All right. Have we reached the third layer that you wanted to talk about, or did we
Yep.
already talk?
Yep. The top layer was philosophy. The second layer were audiences and audience building, and then that last layer are campaigns and strategies. Yep.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Wow. Amazing tips. This does look like a lot of work, though. How much does Rainmaker save in terms of work for the two different packages, two different layers?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, in terms of saving work, anything that you're doing manually, like after once the audience is built, if you're reaching out and trying to connect with each person, one of the things that we do as well is if someone hasn't connected within 30 days back with you, we'll rescind the invite. So we'll take that invite back. And then there's a 3-week period of time where you can't re-invite that person, but after that, you can invite them again. And so we're kind of creating these pools of people that didn't accept the invite the first time, and we can always go back to those people at a later date. And a lot of times people aren't connecting back. It's not because they don't want to. It's a lot of times it's they're busy and your alert got pushed down and they just missed it. So, but the time savings is really around you know uh, managing kind of all of the audience that you are building and creating connections with, like the messaging and thinking about messaging and responding to the messages. That's really all my clients really need to do is, respond to messages when people respond, and just think about what kinds of content they want to get out there. And then really Rainmaker is doing all the rest of the work. So they just need to focus on, how they can bring value to their prospects, which is really the best way that they could be spending their time.
Do you still recommend posting every day? You mentioned this is how you began with Rainmaker, but do you still recommend this, posting every day?
No. I think it's kind of, like what we said, have a reason for why you want to post, and try and make it, meaningful. So again, it doesn't have to be something that's super thought out, but at the same time, you don't want to just spend a bunch of time posting for posting's sake, because that's not what's going to fill your pipeline of leads and help you generate sales. So, I'd focus in on, going to, events online, going to networking events, meeting people in person, creating connections with those people on LinkedIn after you meet them. I recommend, when you're posting, to try and provide educational value, try and, come across as a a caring human, a funny human, whatever those different ways that you want to be seen, post. And people are really concerned with vanity metrics. I think like impressions and comments and all of that. I think that does matter to a certain degree in figuring out what resonates with your audience. But at the same time, you really want to be focused also in on activities that are meaningful for your prospects and get them to want to engage with you, so you can hopefully create a business relationship.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Fantastic. Thank you so much for the fantastic tips. If people decide to check out rainmaker.com and decide to opt out for the Rainmaker software, what can they expect in the sense of the first steps, first interactions with you?
Yeah, so the website's rainmakergrows.com.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, really, if again, it's just month to month, no contract, and the onboarding takes about 15 minutes, and that's just me getting my system set up with your LinkedIn account. And then we want to build an audience, so that's something that the client can do on their own, or I can build it with them. And we want to build that initial audience of probably around 500 to 1,500 people, and then we turn it on with the connection requests and start building out connections. And then if they want to do some of the other activities around messaging or doing LinkedIn invites or messaging through groups, or any of the other campaign types, then yeah, we can start to explore those.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, Colin. Fantastic, amazing advice. I am gonna try some of it out, see how it. I guess it all needs to be done in a sequence, though. You can't just try something out, right?
Yeah, so I think the number one thing is follow kind of what I follow when I get a client set up on Rainmaker. Number one, identify your audience and make sure that you're honing in on the right kinds of people. Then, number two, start reaching out to those people to build connections. Again, we're doing 125 people a week, 25 a day, Monday through Friday during normal working hours. And once you start building out those connections, then it's how do you add value to that person's work life? And that's where the hard work is. But that's where you need to understand your business. You need to understand your prospect's pain, and you need to start solving that with different offers, whether it's white papers or things that you've posted on your website, or whether it's, a third party article that you found they thought would be helpful, or an event that you're putting on. So that's the work that needs to be done by the founder, the salesperson, or the marketer.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Colin.
Thank you. Really appreciate
it. So everybody go to rainmakergrowth.com for more information and to check out whether this is suitable for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Grow and Learn. We hope that you found our podcast informative, engaging, and inspiring. Our mission is to help you keep growing and learning, and we hope that our conversations and insights have provided you with practical advice and useful perspectives. If you're looking for personalized support and guidance to help you achieve your personal or professional growth objectives, I offer a range of services to help. As a trusted management partner and mentor, I work with businesses in the process of transformation, looking for new streams of business, as well as M&A. With an extensive professional network of experts and mentors, I can bring on board the right person or team based on the specific needs of the company I'm working with. To learn more about the services I offer and how I can help you achieve your goals, visit my website at GrowNLearn.org. You can also reach out to me via email or social media. I'd love to hear from you. And if you enjoyed this episode of Grow and Learn, please subscribe to our podcast and leave us a review. Your feedback is important to us, and it helps us to continue to create content that is relevant and valuable to our listeners. Thanks again for listening, and we look forward to sharing more insights and perspectives with you in the future.